Hello and welcome to The Print. I'm Karishma Hasnat. And today we have with us Dr. Sailen Haukip, the spokesperson of the Kuki National Organization, one of the two armed Kuki groups that had signed a suspension of operations agreement with the central government and the state government in 2008. Welcome to The Print, sir.
Good afternoon, Karishma. Thank you.
At the foremost, if I may ask, where do you stand with the government of India when it comes to seeking a political solution to the current crisis?
We are on the right track. We are engaged in dialogue with the government. SO was signed in 2008, and talks have been going on. And a major part of the talks have been about our demand for autonomous territorial council within the state of Manipur.
Okay.
And of course, after 3rd May 2023, there's been a paradigm shift. And if you want me to explain that
Yes, please.
in more details, I'll be glad to. So, as I mentioned, our demand for upgradation, if you like, from the previous autonomous district council to an autonomous territorial council within the state of Manipur was clearly because Article 371C, that was a part of the creation of the state of Manipur, and 371C being clearly for the hills under the Hill Area Committee, and autonomous district councils functioned in that capacity. But it was found unsatisfactory by people in terms of the application of that article, although good in letter, didn't translate in spirit and in terms of practicalities, and it was not fulfilling our aspirations. So we felt we should ask for a better arrangement, and which we termed it as Autonomous Territorial Council with certain more devolution of powers within the state of Manipur. However, unfortunately, as we all know, 3rd May 2023, there was an outbreak of violence in Imphal, and which spread to the hills, and there has been a lot of chaos, a lot of deaths, a lot of internally displaced people. There has been a complete transfer of populations from the valley to the hills of the Kukis, and from the major districts in the hills where Meitei population were also, such as in Tengnupal, More, from Lamka, Churachandpur, from Kangpokpi district, they have moved to Imphal. And then accordingly too, our political demand could no longer be within the parameters of the Autonomous Territorial Council, because from 3rd of May we were ethnically cleansed from the valley, and we have moved to the hills. We can't go back there. We don't want to go back there also anymore under the circumstances. So the most logical progression from that point was to find an alternative for our existence, convergence in terms of our demand. And it was the same earlier, but then from the shift from Autonomous Territorial Council to SA and then to UT has also been consistent.
So you have it more defined now from separate administration to a union territory.
Correct.
So what are you hoping out of it? What would a union territory entail?
A union territory would entail, according to the provisions laid out in comparison for the Pondicherry people under Article A 239, 239A. As you know, there are about 8 UTs in the country, and none of them are the same. Each one is uniquely tailored to the needs of the place and the people. And ours seems nearest with the Pondicherry model in the autonomous district councils in the 6 districts earlier. The population being mixed, the representation to the autonomous district council was also representative of the ethnicities.
Right.
And they administered and worked together under the same, arrangement.
But even the demand of autonomous district council, as you say, that seemed nearly impossible because of certain challenges in terms of overlapping boundaries or contiguous areas shared between with other communities.
Not at all, not at all. autonomous district councils existed, and the mixed population, mixed representatives worked together under the same ADCs in the different 6 districts.
Okay.
There was one in Ukhrul, one in Tamenglong, one in Senapati, one in Churchandpur, one in Chandel, and one in Kangpokpi.
The biggest worry for the Valley people of the Meitei community is their territorial integrity. How would you address that when you go about your demand?
Yes, I think the concerns are right in the sense that Manipur existed as a state after the British came, and that status quo remained and was functioning, although with grievances from the hill people over rights not being, duly honored, and there was no equitability in terms of provisions being shared. But then, be that as it may, as I mentioned, ADCs or ATCs were still demands within the state of Manipur, and it did not threaten the integrity of Manipur.
Okay.
It was to sort of raise the development aspect of the hills, which is part of Manipur. If the hills do better, it's for the state of Manipur. I mean, you can't begrudge the hill people from wanting to advance. So they were exercising their democratic rights. Nothing wrong with that, and it didn't threaten the integrity of Manipur either. But now the demand for UT is explained as disturbing the territorial integrity of Manipur.
Yes.
But that's a bit confusing, because on the one hand, 3rd of May 2023, you ethnically cleanse the Kukis to leave the valley. They go to their hills and they seek something for their hills, and you're saying you're breaking up the territorial integrity of Manipur. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Okay. It has to be one demand from your community, the Kuki Zomi brethren, the CSOs, the organizations have to agree on this one demand. Now, when I talk of the KNU and the UPF, you have been in talks with the center for long. So naturally, you know how to go about it, you know the ways, your experience. So are you planning to take the lead this time as well?
Well, taking the lead, as it were, KNO and UPF have had representatives who participate in the talks, and that pattern will continue. It's to resume now with the new dispensation in Delhi, and that we expect will happen after the parliamentary session. It depends, let's see. But the talks have to continue. The government has started it, and it's somewhere along the process. It hasn't concluded yet, and that is simply because of the parliamentary elections and the government changing. So logically, it would resume sometime, and then our demand for UT, we will have a response from the government, a response in the sense that once the dialogue resumes, government will say, what their point of view is, and accordingly we will respond, we will negotiate, but it'll all be along democratic lines.
Even if you get what you want in the form of a solution, we understand that you have already signed the suspension of operations with the government. So it means that the cadres have to retreat to the designated camps.
The cadres are to be lodged in designated camps since we signed the SOO in 2008. And that has been going on. It's just that the cadres practically cannot remain in the camps all the time for 2 reasons. I'll cite 2 reasons. One is the camps were constructed in 2008, and the cadres moved in, and the government gives a stipend for the cadres, which is used to maintain their needs, the rations, etc. Now, things went fine from 2008 till about 8, 9, 10, 11 even. But thereafter, you see, for example, the state, which is responsible for disbursing the stipend, often delayed it. The technicality of that is the center provides the funds, but the process is the state pays and the center reimburses the stipend money that the state disburses. Now, there are lapses in the payment, sometimes for a year, sometimes even longer. And when you don't sustain that, the guarders cannot survive in the camps. They need at least 2 square meals a day. If you want to sustain guarders staying in camps, then the provisions, the infrastructure which the government is committed to must also be in place, which is not happening. Camps are not repaired despite numerous appeals. And currently, the government has not paid the guarders their stipend for about 15, 16 months.
All right.